Hi, my name is Gulshan Kavrana, and I've been in Dubai for the last 27 years. The reason of doing this podcast, which is called POD cast. So, POD are people of determination. That's how we address people with disabilities in the UAE. And I really wanted to hear their stories from their mouths. And normally everybody talks about people with disabilities or people of determination, but no one actually asks them what are their concerns, what are their worries, what are their plans for the future. So we're going to start on this amazing journey, and please join us. Today I have an amazing guest. Her name is Asma Bakar.
Hello, everyone.
So, Asma, I'm going to just dive into it. Can you start with your, your when in your childhood, what kind of memories do you have?
Not a lot, except spending time with the family. And there was also bullying in school and a lot of hardships.
Did you ever feel different?
I've been feeling different.
When when
And
when did you start feeling different?
in the first grade, I have actually been feeling different since the first grade. I haven't been concentrating a lot in class. Mostly I would be drawing stuff. Um,
And did you have friends when you were growing up? In school, did you have friends?
not till the fifth grade.
So you were just by yourself,
Always in the corner by myself, not talking to anyone.
and your teacher didn't see that? Nobody came to you and said, "Why don't you join us?"
There were some times, but not a lot. And I would still be sitting in the corner, not listening to anyone else, just
So
doing my own personal
were
thing.
you daydreaming or what were you doing?
Either daydreaming or playing with my pencils and erasers and stuff, acting like they were my friends.
So you were actually making your pencils your friend and you were naming them?
Yes, I was giving them names.
And when you were watching your own friends hanging out during lunchtime and they were sitting together and they were not asking you, they were not including you, you know, what was that feeling?
I would be in my own little world.
And how was this your own world? How was it?
It was difficult. I was talking to myself, usually, um, talking to the air, like I could see someone in front of me talking to me. It wasn't easy.
So were you talking aloud?
No,
No.
I was whispering most of the time. I guess that's why people thought I was weird in some way.
And when you came home, how did you feel? Did you feel accepted at home?
I was accepted at home, but it was suffocating. So I'd usually sit alone in the room
So were you
24
sitting
hours.
again alone at home as well, or were you? I know you have seven siblings,
Yes, I
and you're the
did.
oldest.
I was sitting with my family when I was younger, but then I started to feel suffocated and too many people were there and it was so hard. So it naturally just go to my comfort zone, my room.
So your comfort zone has always been your room.
Yes. That they did change the room every now and then, but now I have my own room. I don't stay in the room as much as I used to before. But that's because I've changed. I understood what I am now.
So in school, you were feeling really weird. Nobody was talking to you. You were sitting by yourself, and you were coming home, and it was the same kind of feeling. You wanted to just be by yourself.
Yes.
And where did you find your solace? What were you doing? I know now what you love to do.
So I would go in the room, open the TV, see the characters, and talk to them.
And did you enjoy reading like you do now?
I love reading.
So you were
Reading
always
is like
reading and
my,
getting lost in the books and the
yeah.
stories.
And at the same time, I was seeing it in my mind, all the adventures they're having. And from there, I write my own scripts and stories.
But you were okay with that your friends were your books, your friend was the TV. You were okay with that.
I was feeling okay with that. Yes.
And what happened in grade 5? You said something really major happened.
Something really major did happen. I made my first friend that day. An actual friend, not someone from my mind.
Would you like to name her? It's up to you.
So it's better if I keep it anonymous.
Okay. It's absolutely fine. So what did this friend do for you?
So I was sitting in the sun one day, as I usually do. I sit alone and start talking. And she just walked up to me and she said, "Who are you talking to?" And I say, "She's my friend." Like, "I'm your friend. Let's talk." She sat beside me and we started talking. And she was the first one who accepted me for me. She didn't make fun of me. She didn't bully me. She didn't call me names. She just said, "Let's start being friends." And from her group of friends came along, and we've never stopped talking since then.
That's so nice. And are you still friends with her and the other group?
Yes, I'm still friends with them. We talk on WhatsApp most of the time. Since they have jobs, families, kids, they have a lot of things to do. And right now, I also have my own job. I actually opened an animation studio in August.
We'll go there. We'll definitely be going there.
Yeah.
So you found this bunch of wonderful friends and you felt accepted.
I felt accepted.
But till then you didn't have a diagnosis. You didn't realize that okay, I'm different, but what do I have? You didn't even
I didn't
think
understand.
about it.
No.
No.
I guess I was masking the whole thing.
Can you explain what masking is for many people who don't understand what it is?
Masking is usually hiding your autism. Except that I didn't know I was hiding it until a couple of years ago. But I was hiding my autism from almost everyone, even though I didn't know I had it back then. And I was still different.
But did you feel a lot of pressure that society puts on women, especially who have autism, and that they have to mask? Did you feel pressure to mask?
It was hard. I felt like my energy was draining most of the time. And it was making me tired every time I go home. I would go to bed straight away after school.
Of course, it is draining when you can't be yourself and you have to keep masking.
Yeah.
So I know something really big and dramatic happened in your life in 2012.
Yeah.
But before that, you finished high school.
I finished high school. I was in the midst of my university. I had to stop so I can.
And what were you studying in your university?
Well, I first started psychology, but that didn't interest me much. So I changed to digital animation, and that helped me a lot.
So you enjoyed
the animation. And I figured
animation.
that was my passion. That's what I wanted to do with my life.
And nobody was guiding you. No one told you this is what you wanted to do.
This is what I wanted to do, and my parents accepted it.
And then, can you tell us what happened in 2012?
So in 2012, I had a traumatic experience. I had to leave university to go help my mom with my dad in London, who was in the hospital. And then a couple of days before my dad passed away, my grandmother passed away in May, 10 days before my dad did. And that made me say that it was my fault that they died. I wasn't there for my grandmother.
But why did you feel like that? What did someone say something to you?
No one said anything to me. So then, but I guess it's the inner conscience inside me that made me feel that way.
And you just took it upon yourself that they both died because of you?
Because of me, yes. and it wasn't easy.
And then the thought was just repeating in your head again and again
It
and
was
again.
repeating in my head, and I was not seeing them anymore. So it was all that connected, and my heart just closed, literally.
And then,
I felt shattered for 6 years.
but you didn't share that with your mom and said, it's my fault.
They tried to help me, but I wasn't talking.
So you just stopped talking
I
completely.
stopped talking completely. I locked myself in my room for 6 years.
You locked yourself in the room means
Literally. They tried to take me out, but I wouldn't let them even enter the room.
And so,
And when they do enter, I'm either go to the bathroom or I would kick them out myself. It was that
and you
hard.
didn't even talk to your mom.
No. I never told her anything.
I mean, obviously she was grieving as well.
She was grieving. Yes.
And your other siblings were grieving.
All of them were grieving in their own way. My brother was getting himself into studies. The other one, I didn't go that far to explain what he's been through.
And you tell us about your siblings and the relationship you have with them. At that time.
We were disconnected.
Completely
Disconnected. There was nothing we didn't want to talk with each other. And one of my siblings was married already, so.
And your youngest sibling?
My youngest sibling didn't understand. He was 9, I think.
And he's also on the spectrum.
And he's higher than me in the spectrum. He had a very hard time talking with a lot of people. He didn't have a lot of friends.
But did you feel isolated? Did you feel lonely? What were you feeling at that time? Or you were just like, I need time to be on my own?
I needed time to be on my own to figure out what was happening. I didn't understand. It was hard for me to understand what was happening.
Would you ever go back to those days?
No, I would never go back to those days. I was wrong to do it in the first place.
It wasn't you. It wasn't you who was doing it. Right?
It was my mind.
But were they the darkest days of your life?
It was the darkest days.
And nobody ever said that, Asma, you're depressed. No one said that?
My mom did say it, but I didn't acknowledge it back then.
But did they ever say, let's take you to a doctor and get you sorted?
We tried. We tried the family psychology, but it never worked out.
It didn't work.
No.
And so
it worked for a little while, but then it went back to what it used to be.
So were you eating well? Were you drinking? I mean, were you hydrating yourself? Were you exercising? What were you doing?
I was just saying. I would go out to eat, or sometimes I'd just bring it to the room. But other than that.
So you never went out of the house? For 6 years, you just stayed in the house?
Yes. There was one time my grandfather said we should go on a cruise, and he took me with him. We went to Vietnam, but I was, again, still in the room, in the ship, alone. So even then.
Did you ever feel, okay, I'm going through this right now, I will come out of it? Did you ever tell yourself that?
No.
So you just believe that this is my life. It's going to be like this.
Yes, until my sister took me to meet you in Mawahib.
I remember that day so clearly.
I don't. It was one of the days that I don't want to remember, except meeting you, of course.
So I remember it was 2017, March, I think.
March.
Yeah. And I used to work at Mawahib, which was an art studio for adults with disabilities. And one of your sisters had come there to volunteer.
Yeah.
And I mean, we loved having her. She had studied psychology. And that's the experience she wanted to have with people with disabilities.
She's the one who recommended me to come to you.
Yeah.
But again, back then I didn't acknowledge yet.
And I remember it so clearly. You came and you sat in front of me with your sister. and your sister said, "This is Asma, and she would like to be a part of your the studio." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to ask you." She said she doesn't talk. So I, I said, did she ever talk before? And she said, yeah, she did, but now she stopped talking. And then your head was just bent down.
Yeah.
And Mariam, your sister, said she doesn't speak at all. And I said, I'm going to ask you one simple question. I'm just going to say, what is your name? And you have to just give me that answer. And every time I said, what is your name? Mariam answered for you. And she said, her name's Asma. I said, I'm not asking you. I'm asking her. And, you wouldn't answer.
No.
And then I said, if you don't answer and if you're nonverbal, we can't have you at the studio. Right? And I said, this is the last time I'm asking you because I need to go back to my students. So I don't have so much time. And I said, Asma, I'm going to ask you for the last time, what is your name? And then you put your head up and you said, Asma.
First
And that
time.
was it. After 6 years.
After 6 years.
And in psychology, this is apparently called flooding, which I had no idea about because I've studied art. And I said, yeah, you're in. We'll accept you, right?
And yet, in the beginning, I was still sitting on my own and minding my own
And then you
business.
had your fingers,
My fingers were always, stuck. But
and then you said, I can't open my fingers.
Someone had to usually open it for me. But then
all those
were
anxiety,
cycles in my mind. It was nothing that I could do about
So
it.
every time someone shook your hand, your fingers would bend, and then you said, "No, I can't open them." I mean, these were all your
In my mind.
fears and in your head.
Yeah.
And then you said, "We are not going to do it. You are going to do it yourself." And then it just went.
Yeah.
Right.
But also, while processing that, I started to feel like I have to take out my tears since I haven't cried for 6 years. It was hard. So I let it out. Literally, I let every feeling that I had back then out. And you saw it too.
And we allowed it. And we said, you just be who you are here. Nobody is judging you. Nobody cares. So just be yourself and be who you are and love who you are. And that's what I saw the change, when I was believing in you and you started believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And that's when the change happened.
Big change.
And I remember we had an exhibition and, the Emirati TV, they came and they said, can you please do the interview in Arabic? I said, I don't speak Arabic. I don't understand Arabic. But she does. And you said, you can't do this to me. You can't put me in front of the camera.
Exactly.
And I said, it's happening and you're doing it. And I went and stood behind the camera and you were looking at me. I said, talk to me. I didn't have a clue what you were saying in Arabic. And you were just looking at me and I kept nodding and saying, yeah, carry on. Right? It was amazing.
It was the first time.
And after that, there's no stopping you.
No stopping me, no. Even my sister was confused. But we went to Canada and we went to a shop. And I bought some things. And then I started to talk to the cashier about my life and what was going on, where we're going. And for an hour, I was there. And then another guest joined us. And we were just chatting along. And my sister's like, Asma, we're leaving. Come on. I told her, yeah, I'm coming. You go. After another hour, she came back and I'm still there talking to them. And she's like, Asma, we're actually leaving. Come on, let's go. Like, okay, bye. And we left.
And I remember whenever we had tourists or we had school children coming to the studio, you would be the one talking about Mawahib and explaining it to them. When we did CSR events, it was you who came forth and, you spoke about.
I never want to stop talking. The biggest talk actually was in 2019 in the Special Olympics.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So 2017, is when you finally opened up. How did you feel at that time? Like you didn't have to sit in your room, you didn't have to be quiet anymore. You were not lonely. What happened?
I
How
changed. I stopped masking what I used to mask before. I stopped hiding my autism, I guess.
and you accepted yourself.
I accepted myself. Yeah.
So before the world accepts you, first you need to accept yourself.
You need to be happy with yourself, accept yourself, and make sure that you understand yourself before you can give yourself to the world, I guess.
That's so beautiful. I wish more and more people hear this, understand it, right?
If you're not happy with yourself, then you can't give happiness to the world as well.
Exactly. But when did this switch happen?
I just stopped hiding myself, I guess. I wanted to show the world how, even though we're different, you can't change us from what we are.
So, we'll be putting this podcast on YouTube. It's not only people in Dubai that are going to watch it. Everywhere, all over the world, I hope that people watch. And there might be some young women who are in the similar situation like you, who are masking. So, what is your message to them?
Be yourself. Don't ever hide who you are, because then you'd drain, you'd feel lonely, how can I say this? You would be someone that you're not.
And that's such a beautiful message, Asma. Really. It's so profound what you're saying. It is. Okay, so so when we were at the studio in 2018, I think it was 2018, the Special Olympics was going to happen in 2019 in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And the team that was going to work for the opening ceremony,
The committee.
yeah, they approached us and they said we would like some of your students to be part of the team.
Yeah.
And I remember showing you a lot of the opening ceremonies. Yeah. And you all saw it. And then I said, what is lacking in this? What is lacking? And I was hoping that you also would understand what was lacking. And then you all said, why are celebrities opening the events?
When it's supposed to be people of determination, because it's called the Special Olympics.
Exactly. And then when the team came from UK, you said, if you want us to be part of it, we will open the Special Olympics, right?
Yes. It was a big
moment. And then you all had to train. You had to write your own speech.
To train them.
Yeah. But tell us about that magical moment.
So my song was actually put in one of the Special Olympics choreography sessions. But the biggest moment was the opening night, when I stood on stage in front of 40,000 people for the first time and talked.
And it's available on YouTube.
It's available on YouTube, yes.
And, okay, so you were on stage. You were mic'd in. You were walking towards the stage. What were you feeling? Because 40,000 people are in the stadium.
I was really nervous.
And 40,000 in the stadium and at least 1 million people watching worldwide.
Other people watching worldwide.
Yeah.
And it was not easy.
Were your legs shaking? How was your heart? What was happening?
It was beating as fast as the train, maybe. Literally, I was feeling out of breath. But once I started talking, I didn't stop, I guess. And there was someone beside me to help me get through that. But also, I had a lot of my friends, you, my mom, my aunt. They were all there in the audience. And I wanted to make sure that I was doing the best I can.
My God, you did the best. I was crying because, all the moments where you had come to Mawahib and you were not speaking, all that was flashing in front of me, and then watching you in front of 40,000 people. So confidently you spoke, I I didn't even hear you because I was shouting so much and I was crying. And it was seriously one of the best moments of my life. And it was not only you, it was six other
Six other
students. Yeah.
students.
It was what a night. Yeah, it was amazing.
It was. It was one of the biggest nights of my life.
And did you ever imagine when you were sitting alone in your room, in that dark space that you were, that one day this is what's going to happen?
I never imagined. No.
So, so what do you want to tell everybody? Never give up, right?
Never give up. And there's one thing that I usually do when I do give up. I empty my mind, I close my eyes, and I listen to my heart.
And you know, this mantra of yours,
Yes.
you've shared it with thousands of people. Yeah, over the years, you've been saying it again and again.
Yes, I have.
And many people, including me, I do follow it as well. You know, when I feel a bit too much, too many things, and I feel overwhelmed, I say, what has Asma said? Empty your mind, close your eyes, and listen to the rhythm of your heart.
Yeah.
And everything just falls into place after that.
To tell you the truth, I've been doing that for a while. And listen to your heart is a right thing to do because your heart knows what it wants.
But how did you come to that? How did you realize that this is what I need to do?
When I was in depression, my mind was playing tricks on me, telling me, this is your fault. This is what he did. See? So I didn't want to listen to my mind anymore. It was driving me nuts, like giving me to a place where I didn't want to be. And then my eyes was saying, see, you can't see them anymore. This is what you did. That was even harder. So I had to close my eyes as well. Next thing I know, I have my hands on my chest and I started hearing boop, boop, boop. Heart was beating. It was telling me, this is not your fault. This happens. This is life. This is what's going to happen to you someday. Don't be afraid of it.
And
it
worked.
It did work.
Did you ever feel, I just want all this to end, my life to end, when you were going through the depression? Did you ever feel like that?
I felt like my life already ended.
Did you say, this is it, I don't want to go on anymore?
I was hurting myself.
You were?
I was hurting myself. I was either, there are a lot of parts that I don't want to show people, but I was hurting myself.
And what made you stop doing that?
I guess I didn't want to hurt myself anymore. It was really painful.
So, were you hurting yourself because you were feeling so numb?
Yeah.
Were you feeling numb?
I was feeling like my whole hand was not moving. So I started to scratch and scratch. There's actually a scratch on my leg that never went away.
But were you doing that to feel alive? Because I've read about it, that people do that, they cut themselves because they're feeling so numb. And they do that so they feel, okay, I'm still here, you know? Were you doing it for that, or?
No, I just wanted to end my life.
You just wanted to end your life.
And that was wrong.
And thank God you didn't. Yeah, because look at you now. But Asma, thank you for going that far. You know, it's not easy talking about it. Yeah. But there are so many people who are going through it as we speak.
I would rather talk about it than stay in my depression mode that I used to before.
And I'm sorry to take you back to that dark moment again. But, you know, if you don't share it, people don't understand where you've come from.
It wasn't easy, and it's hard to talk about it. But I'd rather talk about it than keep it inside.
And thank you. Thank you for going there. And thank you for sharing. It's not easy. You know, not many people are brave enough to even share it. But
I wasn't brave before. But I'd rather explain what happened to me in the past than leave it inside and be depressed the whole entire time.
Yeah. But thank you. It's not easy. And so, you were at Mawahib. I was mentoring you. One day you came and you showed me this collection of heart
Hard
people.
people.
Yeah. And you said, this is what I did when I was depressed.
Yes.
Right. And you said, and I loved it. But somehow we didn't get
To the point
to the
of
point
doing.
of working on it.
Yeah.
Right. And then 2020 happened. And as
The
we all know,
pandemic.
the pandemic. And everything was just put aside. Yeah. We were working online. I couldn't work one-on-one with you. And then Mawahib shut down. And you and your cousin Abdullah decided that you all are going to start your own studio,
Yes.
which was in Bastakia, in Al Faidi historical neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's when I came in, and you all asked me to come in as your mentor.
Yes.
And I said, Asma, I still remembered that, your
Hard people.
the Heart People stories that you had written.
Yeah.
And then tell the world what happened.
So from my first collection of 20 hard people, we made merchandise. We made bottles. We made.
But first we put
first
it
we
in a
made
book.
we put it in the coloring book, and it was so successful that we wanted to make more merchandise.
Exactly.
So we made the bottles, we made the keychains, we made a lot of different stuff, and it was again popular, including the shirts that we made.
Yeah.
So after that, I made more collections. I made the Japanese collection, made the Arabic collection, I made the special needs collection, I made the stories collection.
So tell them, what
So-
are these Heart People? What are these?
These hard people are just hearts who can show the world that if you listen to your heart, this is going to happen.
So they're like emotional Heart People.
They're emotional heart people, and they can be anything in the world. They can be animals, they can be things, they can easily be people that you can see around you. And if you do see them through their hearts, you'll know who they are. And if they do act on you that they understand you, they're your real friends. But if they don't understand you and they talk behind your back, and you hear them actually talking about you, then you would know that they're not actual friends. They're just there to be your friend and then for your side. No official way for anyone to understand, but listen to your heart.
Listen to your heart.
It will know the best way for you to go.
And honestly, you didn't know how to make friends, right? At that time, when you were still at Mawahib.
No, I didn't.
So I realized that we had this other student, and the two of you would really hit it off. And I said, why don't you all just become friends? And you were like, I don't know how to be a friend. And she said the same thing. I don't know how to be a friend. Even Mariam is on the spectrum,
She's on the spectrum and she lost a loved one.
and she lost her mom. And so she was grieving for her mom. You were grieving for your dad. And you had that big common factor, between the two of you. And we went, I don't know if you remember, but we went to Mall of the Emirates.
It was the first time to go.
It was the first time that we did window shopping. And then we had, our snack at the Mall Cafe. And I said, this is what friends do. You sit and you chat, and then you go window shopping. You don't have to buy. And you couldn't understand this concept,
No, I would buy whatever was in front of me.
Yeah. And you said, what is window shopping? If I go, I buy, and I come back. I said, no, but you can just look around with your friend and walk with her. And then you invited Mariam to your house on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And then it became like a ritual. And y'all just started hanging out
hanging
together.
out together, and we made other friends as well.
And then you invited more friends over.
Yeah.
And
It
and this
just,
and it still continues.
it still continues. We meet every Friday.
Yeah. And it's an amazing. Aren't you happy about being with friends now?
It's amazing.
And you go on trips with them. You
We
go to
do.
Jabal
We
Ali.
go to Jebel Ali. We go to Motion Gates. We go to amusement parks. Sometimes we even go to Global Village just for a walk around.
And you don't have to buy now. You can
No, no, I don't have to buy.
so you can just go window shopping and just hang out and have fun, have a coffee, have lunch, have dinner.
Yeah.
Right? It's changed your life.
It's changed my life big time.
Tell the camera and tell the people that it's really important to have friends.
If you don't have friends, then you wouldn't have as much fun as you have now. Always find the right friend, and you will be happy throughout your life.
Yeah. That's so nice. It's really, really nice to see this big group of yours and you're having so much fun. I'm so happy, yeah, that it happened. So, you were at the next chapter, the
Yes,
studio,
I
which
was.
you and your cousin Abdullah,
Yes,
and you were doing motivational speaking.
I was.
You were going to corporates and talking about,
I still do.
yeah, and you were doing workshops, teaching children and adults about your heart people.
I actually still do that too.
I'm so happy to hear that. And it continues. And we were invited in 2021 to Washington
For the Folk Life
for the Smithsonian Folk Life Festival.
Yeah.
So 83 Emiratis were selected,
Yeah.
and you and Abdullah were one of them. You went
Yeah.
to Washington as well.
Yeah.
And how was your experience? I was there, so I know about it, but I want to hear it from you.
Amazing. That's the only thing I could say. It was overwhelming, but it was amazing. And the way they wanted me to do one workshop turned into 3 workshops.
And I think you were doing workshops
And-
every single day. It was amazing.
I think so. And the more I did the workshop, the more kids enjoyed it. Because I was interacting with them and I was actually asking them what they want the heart people to be. And they chose whatever they wanted. Whether it was a thing, but mostly animals.
And honestly, even I didn't know how you're going to cope with. But then when the kids started saying and the adults were saying, "Can you draw heart people, elephant?" And you said, "Yeah, no problem," and you would just do it. I said, "Wow,
Yeah.
you were amazing," and it's all there on your Instagram,
It's on my Instagram page, yes.
Asma Bakar _ right?
That's my Instagram page.
And we were doing these live sessions, and then more and more people were joining in, and it was a lot of fun.
It was fun. Yeah. It
So,
was fun.
as an Emirati woman, how did it make you feel to represent? You are on the spectrum, but they didn't even care about that.
They didn't.
They
no.
saw you as an artist.
And as long as they did that, I felt alive.
You felt alive.
Alive.
That's beautiful.
I felt alive. I felt like I'm actually here. I exist. And people can see that now.
That's really a fantastic statement. Yeah. And it was so nice that they were responding to you,
They weren't only responding to me.
and not as Asma, a person or a person of determination
No.
or a person with a disability.
No.
Asma as an artist.
And they were responding to that part of me,
Yeah.
the artist part of me.
I mean, you're not embarrassed about the
I am not.
autism.
I am
it's
not. I was before, but now I'm not. From the day that
Again,
happened.
what made that switch? When did it happen? When did it happen?
It just, I didn't know who I was before. And now I do. And that's what happened because I went out of the depression zone. And I met a lot of people who helped me through that, including you,
Thank you.
of course.
And something else happened. Was it last year? This year? This year. We went to
This year.
America. So
It was in
the UAE embassy in Washington
invited us to go to Los Angeles for Autism Speaks.
and Autism Speaks is a big forum.
I
Right?
heard that. Yeah.
And
Big
you
platform.
and Abdullah were invited by the UAE embassy to represent UAE at the Autism Forum in LA. Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was brilliant.
And they actually put you on stage with three other people
Three
who are
other
on the
people.
spectrum.
Yes.
And, public was asking you questions. And I was like, I just hope. Honestly, I was a bit scared because I said, she's not been on such a big platform before.
It was not easy, but I had other people beside me who understood. And that made me more confident in myself.
And I think from all the speakers, you were the most real. And, you were not afraid. You were just there speaking.
I was not afraid. You told me to look at you, but I started to look at everyone around me, unfortunately.
You weren't looking at me. I mean, you were so comfortable. Once you went there, I said, if you're scared, just look at me. I was sitting in the first row. But you didn't need me. You just did it on your own. Right?
Yeah,
It was one of those fantastic moments as well.
it was.
And you were answering all the questions.
I was answering the questions, but I didn't know what they were asking. I just answered the questions in my way.
Yeah. But you were doing a fantastic job. I mean, the lot of questions was on ABA, something that you have not done.
I haven't done AB.
Yeah. And you said, I haven't done AB, I don't know anything about it. And you just, carried on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and I think you met, one of the stars from, what is it called, the show? The
Love on the Spectrum.
Love on the Spectrum. You met
I
Danny.
met two people.
Two. And you met Danny there.
Yes.
And then Danny told you she has her own
Animation
studio. And I know at that time something sparked in your head. And you said, oh my God, where I had left it buried inside me for so long. This is what I want to do.
Yes.
Right?
And I studied it.
And you studied animation. And then you came and you spoke to me and you said, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
I want to start my own studio.
Yes.
And I have written, tell us what you've done.
So I've written scripts since I was little, and it was buried inside. I never showed it to anyone except for my friends, and we were acting it out at home. But I never said, I have to do this. These are my stories. This is the characters I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I was going to start it on when I was 18. But then the whole thing happened and the whole depression, and I forgot all about it until I met Danny in LA. And they said, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? This is not me. I want to be an animator. And then I decided.
And so today you're working in your own animation studio.
I am. I opened an animation studio in August. And I've been working on this animation for a while now.
And
animation does take a very long time, actually.
So what's your dream?
So my dream is to open an actual studio. For now, I'm just working from home. But an actual studio and make it the first Dubai animation studio with a huge team.
And where do you want to see your films?
I want to see my films in movies, in cinema. And to tell you the truth, I also want to have a theme park, like every different studio. I want to have a
I love your
Dubai-themed
dreams.
theme park with my characters walking around interacting with the people.
Wow. Inshallah, it will happen.
Someday it will happen. I hope.
I hope. So, Asma, a lot of times they feel people on the spectrum, especially women, that they don't have any feelings of, or they don't have emotions. They're just like emotionless. And, you know, that you don't get attracted to the opposite sex. You won't fall in love. But is that true?
No, it is not true. You do have crushes every now and then. It happens. You do feel like
So you've had crushes before.
yes,
And it's a good feeling, right?
it's a feeling every now and then, but that's not what I'm seeing right now. What I'm seeing right now is me. First, I have to believe in myself, and then I can start
But if
believing
someone
in love.
right comes along
But if someone right comes along, then yes, it will happen.
and you would like to have a
Someday,
family,
I would like to have a family. I would like to have kids that I could teach about my life so they can understand.
and what if your kids have autism as well?
Why would I care? It's who they are. Really. Even if it doesn't have a cure, it's part of you.
Autism doesn't have a cure.
Yeah. But maybe sometime they find a cure. Someday they find a cure. They always find a cure for something.
But would you want to be cured of this?
But it's a part of me. And if I do be cured, I wouldn't like it because it wouldn't be me anymore. It would be someone different. Autism is a part of me. And it will always be a part of me no matter what. And if I'm reborn, I don't care. I want to be the person that I am. And that autism is part of me.
So, a lot of parents struggle with accepting their children, especially when they've just been told, this is your child, is on the autism spectrum. And then, the future is really scary for them because then they say, oh my God, my child won't go to school, mainstream school, my child won't go to college, my child will never get married, what's going to happen? And, all this talk goes on in the parents' head. What is your message to those parents?
Enter their world. Don't change them from who they are.
How do they enter into their world?
So first, look at your child. Look at him or her. See what they see, and slowly and surely you'll understand them. Just accept them and love them for who they are. Don't try to change them from who they are.
That's so beautiful. I wish parents, listen to this and accept their children for who they are and go into their world.
For instance,
and enjoy them.
My mom,
me
and two of my other brothers are also on the autism spectrum. And she accepted that. She treated us like normal kids. Even though we're not normal, but she treated us like
What is normal?
that.
What is normal in your...
So for us being on the spectrum, we're different than other people. But that didn't happen with my mom. She didn't treat us differently than my other siblings. She treated us as an equal. She didn't see us any different than anyone else. And that's why I love her so much.
Tell her. What's your message to your mom? Tell her.
Mom, thank you for bringing me into this life. I love you, and I hope you are happy with your life too. Thank you for always being there for me.
That's so nice. And you accepted your brothers with autism, or you struggle with it?
I didn't struggle. I struggled with the first one because I didn't understand back then.
And he's closer to you in age.
And he's closer to me in age. But then my younger brother came in, and I said, you know what? They're just like me. And we started interacting closer.
I know he means the world to you.
He
Yeah.
does.
You adore him.
I love him.
And
And the
does
truth
he,
is, he's not scared to show himself. He runs around, he laughs, he babbles, but that's who he is. He's not scared to show that to the world. He's like an inspiration to a lot of other things.
does he stim? You know, stimming is when you talk to yourself or you look at your hand.
He does do that. And he sings things that he remembers.
And do you all ever tell him
And-
stop doing that?
No, we never tell him to stop doing it because we enjoy it. We love it. And he's the sunshine in our lives as well.
Do you still feel that I still need to mask?
I'm not masking anymore. I don't feel like I should mask it. It's just so my life is starting to be open. I don't feel drained of my energy anymore as I used to before. I actually do activities now, which I didn't used to do before.
I know Lego is one of your
Lego is one.
big time. You
Lego is
you
one.
build the biggest Legos in the world.
I love Legos. But I also love to read. I play tennis and golf, and I go to gym. Things I didn't used to do before.
So it is important to keep yourself active.
It is important to keep yourself active, but also to be yourself.
Asma, if we had to end with one message, what would that sentence be?
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Be who you are.
Be who you are, and never give up on your dreams.
Wow. So I think we end now. Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah. I hope people can resonate with what you've said. And I hope the new parents will accept their children and love their children and enjoy their children.
They should enjoy their children.
So
It's the one thing they should do.
thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we're going to have a series of these conversations with more and more people of determination. And they're not only going to be with autism, they're going to be with different disabilities. Please stay tuned and continue watching. Thank you.